What if the greatest enemy you'll ever face is your own mind? Today we dive into Shakespeare's most famous play, Hamlet, a story of revenge, madness, and the dangerous line between thinking and acting. I also have a new friend. That's him right there. He is a Shakespeare aficionado, although he does not have a name yet. I just purchased him today. So if you have any name suggestions, maybe I'll name him Hamnet after Shakespeare's son. But if you have any name suggestions, please drop them in the comments below because I have no clue what to name him. So my first language isn't English. Although I do read in English, I speak in English a lot, of course. I've read classic books before in English, but this is my first Shakespeare play that I read. I decided to read this specific one because I really loved Hamnet. It's a book about Shakespeare's family and his son that dies and his wife. And so I wanted to see how his life influenced this play. It wasn't that bad as I expected it, but still, I would recommend watching the play first as I did and then reading the book because it's way more easier to understand what is actually going on. Let's talk about the characters. So first of all, we have the royal family of Denmark. We have Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark, and he's our main character. We have King Claudius, Hamlet's uncle, who becomes king after marrying Hamlet's mother. Queen Gertrude, that's Hamlet's mother. And finally we have King Hamlet. Then we have Ophelia's family. Of course we have Ophelia, Polonius' daughter, and Hamlet's love interest. Polonius, who is Ophelia's father, and he is the chief counselor to the king. And we have Laertes, Ophelia's brother. Then we have other characters. We have Horatio. He is Hamlet's closest friend. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. They are former friends of Hamlet. Osric, he delivers messages. Voltmund, who is a courtier sent to Norway, and Cornelius, another courtier who is sent to Norway. Then from Norway we have Fortinbras. He is the Prince of Norway. King Fortinbras, he is Fortinbras' deceased father. Old Norway, who is the current king of Norway. So now I will talk about the events that happen in the play, and this video is not spoiler free, so if you don't want to spoil the play for yourself, click away. I will talk about each act and each scene. Act 1, Scene 1. So as the guards were doing their thing, they see the apparition, the ghost of the late king, the king that died, Hamlet's father. And they think that this is a signal that Denmark is in danger, especially from Norway and the Prince Fortinbras. Scene 2, King Claudius celebrates his marriage to Queen Gertrude, and he also addresses political matters to Norway. Now, Prince Hamlet is very bitter and very upset by his father's death and his mother's remarriage, because also I forgot to mention that this takes place 2 months after Hamlet's father, the king, has passed away. And so one of the guards tells him about what he's seen, about the ghost. Scene 3 with Laertes and Ophelia. Laertes warns his sister Ophelia not to trust Hamlet's love, and their father Polonius advises Ophelia to stay away from Hamlet. because he is going through some rough times and he believes that he doesn't really love her. Scene 4, where Hamlet meets the ghost. As Hamlet joins the guards, he sees the ghost who beknocks him to follow. Scene 5, the ghost reveals that Claudius murdered him by pouring poison into his ear, and he demands that Hamlet should avenge him but spare Gertrude. And Hamlet swears to revenge his father and starts to act mad. Act 2, Scene 1. This is the scene with to be or not to be. Claudius and Polonius spy as Hamlet delivers his famous monologue about life and death, and he harshly rejects Ophelia. Claudius also suspects deeper trouble, and he plans to send Hamlet to England. Also in this scene, as Hamlet rejects Ophelia, he tells her to go to a nunnery. And he, as I said before, he rejects her harshly, and there is another thing that he says to her that I will read to you. And you can also find what I'm about to read to you in the movie Hamnet, and it is beautifully performed by Paul Mescal, who plays Shakespeare.
I am myself indifferent honest, but yet I could accuse me of such things, that it were better my mother had not bore me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offences at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do, crawling between earth and heaven? We are errant knaves, all, believe none of us. Go thy ways to a nunnery.
I just had to include that there because I really love the way Paul Mescal delivers this speech in Hamnet. And if you have not seen Hamnet, please, please, please watch it. I also have a video about it if you want to get more information on it. Scene 2, this is where Hamlet gets the idea to see if the ghost was right, to see if his uncle really murdered his father. And so he decides to hire some players to perform a play mirroring the king's murder. And Claudius reacts angrily and stops the performance, confirming his guilt to Hamlet. Scene 3, Claudius attempts to pray so that he will feel less guilty, but he cannot fully repent. Hamlet finds him alone and wants to kill him, but decides not to while praying because he fears that he will send his uncle's soul to heaven, which he, of course, believes that he doesn't deserve because of what he did. Scene 4, this is where Hamlet confronts his mother in Queen Gertrude's chamber. Hamlet accuses her of betrayal and adultery, and while he talks to her, he hears a noise behind a curtain, and he stabs and kills Polonius, thinking that it was his uncle Claudius. And the ghost appears again, urging Hamlet to stay focused on his revenge, and his mother, Gertrude, is really confused because she doesn't see anything and she thinks Hamlet went bonkers. Act 4, Scene 1. Gertrude tells Claudius that Hamlet killed Polonius, and Claudius sends Hamlet to England with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, secretly ordering them to execute Hamlet. Scene 2, Hamlet hides Polonius's body and he taunts the king's men. Scene 3, this is where Hamlet is sent away and Claudius reveals his execution plan in a sealed letter to England. Scene 4, Hamlet encounters soldiers from Fortinbras marching to fight for a trivial piece of land. And so Hamlet is inspired by their determination and decides to keep on going with his revenge plan. Scene 5, this is where Ophelia goes mad. She descends into madness after her father's death. Leatrice also returns. He's furious and he wants to avenge his father, but Claudius quickly manipulates Leatrice against Hamlet. Scene 6, back in Denmark, Horatio receives a letter from Hamlet explaining that he was able to escape the execution after the ship that he was in was attacked by pirates, and he rewrote the king's letter into executing Rosencrantz and Guildenstern instead of himself. Scene 7, this is where Claudius and Leatrice develop their plan to kill Hamlet with a sword dipped in poison and a chalice filled with poisoned wine. And Queen Gertrude comes in and she brings news that Ophelia has drowned while picking flowers. Act 5, Scene 1, Hamlet is at the graveyard and he encounters a grave digger and he reflects on death holding a skull in his hand, and as he sees multiple people coming, he hides further away, and he quickly discovers that it's Ophelia's funeral and that Ophelia has passed away, and he has a fight with Leatrice, Ophelia's brother, over her grave. Scene 2, this is the last scene where the duel takes place. The duel is set between Hamlet and Leatrice. Leatrice starts the fight with a sword that has been dipped in poison. They both get wounded by that poison sword, and somehow the sword ends up from Leatrice to Hamlet. Queen Gertrude takes the chalice and drinks from the poison wine and dies. Before dying from the poison, Leatrice quickly reveals that all along it was Claudius's plan. Hamlet kills Claudius. So much death in this last scene. And now fatally wounded, Hamlet names Fortinbras as the successor and dies. After Hamlet's death, Fortinbras arrives and orders that Hamlet should be honored as a soldier. In the end, Horatio is the only one who is alive and standing. Props to him. Great, good for him, good for him. The last scene is quite literally crazy, because that's where many of the characters die, and it's definitely the most interesting scene in my opinion. I also have a take on the to be or not to be monologue. To be alive or to not be alive? That is the question. Whether to be alive is worth all the trouble. As Hamlet said, the sea of troubles. Is life truly worth the sacrifice we make during it, or is death better? Death is easy. because you don't exist anymore and nothing troubles you. But what about the afterlife? Will we face challenges there? This is the question, the true question. What happens to our soul when we die? So this is what I think the to be or not to be monologue means. This is what I think Shakespeare wanted to say. From what research I've done, this is also what the majority of people believe. Now, if you think there's a secret meaning behind this, or a different meaning behind this monologue, please tell me, because I'm really curious about other people's opinions. Originally, I wanted to read this play, as I said in the beginning, because I wanted to see how Hamnet's death influenced Shakespeare's writing. And I did enjoy this play, and I will definitely be reading more of Shakespeare. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you next time.